Hello, and welcome to the Exponential Roadmap Initiative's afternoon here at the Economy Stage of Impact in Arctic Base Camp. We're actually in a real Arctic tent, and that's so lovely. I love tenting and camping, so this is the place to be. So my name is Katarina Wangle-Björk. I'm head of Impact and Transformation at Exponential Roadmap, and we're going to have a few sessions here looking at business and business role in the green transition. And I have Johan Falk, the CEO and co-founder of Exponential Roadmap Initiative with me, and I also have Eva Karlsson, the CEO of Houdini, a lovely company that I really admire. So I'm so happy to have you here, both of you. And I thought that we would start with setting the broad frames, where this first session is going to do an introduction of ourselves, but also how you can work with exponential roadmaps. The second one is going to be more on transition plans. The third one more on climate solutions and finance, and the fourth one is going to be a more broad outlook. But I hope that we can do that here in this conversation too. So I'd like to start with you, Johan. Could you please tell me a bit about Exponential Roadmap Initiative? What are we? What do we do?
Yeah, thank you. It's great to be here. So Exponential Roadmap Initiative, we bring together the leading, what we say, transformative, disruptive and innovative companies in the world aligned with the same mission, halve emissions by 2030 through exponential climate action and solutions. And the foundation of the initiative was the carbon law, which was developed with Johan Rockström around 2017, that we need to halve emissions every decade, basically, which was a basis for the first exponential roadmap, highlighting that we do have the solutions to take us to that first halving. So what we do practically is we onboard, we part of the Race to Zero and one of the acknowledged partners of Race to Zero. So we onboard leading companies to the Race to Zero, and we support them in advising on transition plan and assessing their strategies. We're setting up collaborative projects in the absolute front line to drive breakthroughs. And we're continuing to drive the global narrative and part of driving standardization.
Thank you so much. And Eva, you're a climate leader and sustainability leader in general, both as a person, but also with Houdini. Could you tell me a bit more about what you do and how you do it? And also, you're one of the early members of Exponential Roadmap Initiative. Please tell.
Yeah, well, thanks for inviting me. And I'm based in Stockholm. A Swedish outdoor brand working globally with supply chains or value chains, but also commercial activities in more or less every continent. And when I got on board in 2001, we decided that, well, we're part of the apparel industry. It's a terrible industry in terms of value creation. It's value destruction more than anything else. You produce more than 100 billion garments per year. 60% are discarded within the first year. So there's so many things that needs to be redesigned. We say that we're reimagining everything. And on that journey since 2001 to become part of the solution, of course you need to collaborate and connect with lots of others in academia, research, peers within the industry and so forth. And then you were given collaboration partner so that we can connect with other front runners, because of course we can learn from car industry, we can learn from every other sector, and we can share our learnings with them as well and move ahead faster together.
And you're on an inspirational journey so far. I've followed you for many years, and it's so nice to see every step you take, and also really producing good garments as well for us who wants to be outdoor or in Arctic tents. We also have a special occasion here today. We're celebrating or having a soft launch of the Exponential Business Playbook, the updated one, which we also have in the room and online for our guests online. So, Johan, could you please tell a bit what is the playbook? What does it do? How can it help?
You're right. Already 2020 first, and here is the new edition of the playbook, which you can download. Of course, it's open source for everyone to use. A lot of companies using it, and we're using it as a basic foundation for all our companies, to onboard the companies and to assess them and to provide them advice on what are the key actions. We asked ourselves, what does it really take for a company to be aligned with the 1.5 ambition? And we saw a need of develop a playbook which is science aligned with the key standards and science, which is sufficiently sharp in terms of ambition, but also focusing on simplicity and not overcomplicating things. So that's basically the background. Now we have companies with more than $1 trillion in revenues using and supporting the playbook. We have around 50 to 100 people who have reviewed it. We have updated 5 times. And we're also connecting, supporting guidelines, like the one we have there, circularity guidelines, to the playbook. So it's a very powerful, I think it's one of the strongest comprehensive playbooks and frameworks for companies to use.
With regards to the climate work and how to integrate it into business. There is also a framework within the playbook called the 4-pillar framework. What is that? Could you please tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, and I explained that. You can see that in the play. It's a little bit difficult to see here. We think for companies to be to have a holistic strategy, you need to work across all these 4 pillars. So it's both about cutting your own emissions, following about the carbon law faster, keeping halving emissions at least every decade, scope 1 and 2. The second pillar is about transforming your value chain, cutting emissions together with your suppliers and customers upstream and downstream. It's a much bigger challenge, with the ambition to follow the same trajectory. So these are the down curves, but it's also about the up curves. So the third pillar is actually about upscaling solutions, and we'll talk more about that. So for a transformative company, it's also about setting targets onto how to transform and shift your portfolio. And finally, the fourth pillar is about how you contribute to climate action in society. It could be through policy influencing or investing in technologies. So basically, the actions described follow all these 4 pillars. So that's basically the 4-pillar framework.
Easy
in a
to
nutshell.
use.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And Eva, you've applied the playbook and have experience from using this and working with it in Houdini. Can you tell us a bit about your experiences, not only with the framework, but a bit, and also on your circular ambitions and what you've done already?
Yes, we work towards circularity since a couple of decades and more. And when we say circular, it's back to the pillars you're talking about.
Yeah.
Circularity for us is not only designing a product like the one you're wearing to make it, recycle the resources going into the product, maintaining the purity so that those resources can be used again and again, removing any chemistry that shouldn't be in consumer products. There's a lot of things to take into consideration when you do design and sourcing and production of a product. But if you only do that, you're missing out on a lot of opportunities for circularity, because if you design a product right, you intuitively create customers that care for their products and want to maintain them and want to repair them and keep them for several years. Instead of having a massive wardrobe, we can actually nudge customers without, pointing fingers, but rather through joy, they reduce their wardrobe size and they keep their products for a long time. So that is part of like the solutions part, and it's not only affecting the way they use our products. Potentially, that can shift lifestyles, and also shine a light on things that were maybe not reflected upon before, like having too much stuff laying around. If we can shine a light on the beauty of having fewer great products that can enable you to have a great life in a simpler way, that can be scaled beyond Houdini, of course. So that is circularity in itself, circular business models, so for instance, where you can repair or rent. If you don't want to own, you can rent. And then open source, that's also part of circularity for us. So pillar 4, apart from, you have a great playbook or guideline for financial
greening cash.
Greening cash.
That's right.
So that we can learn from you guys. And there's the playbook that we helped develop, which is the circularity playbook. But then open source in our perspective is sharing all the technologies that we're using, just like you're open sourcing the playbook in itself. And with that we can move the needle faster together.
And I think what you're doing brilliantly is really putting the light on the importance of the third and the fourth pillar, because so far, where is the focus? Scope 1, 2, 3, and accounting, reporting. Yeah, for sure that's very important, but we really want companies to take a much more holistic perspective and contribute to climate and nature transformation. And one part of that is, of course, how can you work directly with your customers? And something we're introducing in the playbook now is, best practice set key performance indicators. You're applying that for circularity, right?
Yeah. So circularity KPIs for us is, for instance, longevity of a product, and we can measure that together with our users. Of course, how many products that we offer that are designed for circularity, which is around 88% right now. I think it's way beyond most of our colleagues in the business, but so there are KPIs, and of course it's more difficult to measure the KPIs on pillar 3 and 4. But and this is something that you and I have discussed before. I think sometimes it's great to be able to measure things, but we need to make sure that we also do the things that we know are important for positive impact, even though they're difficult or even impossible to measure. So that's something that we have been kind of pushing within the network, I think. Also the nature part, that is not only carbon, but the holistic focus on planetary impact, I suppose.
Exactly.
Nature included.
Very good, thank you. So with 2 minutes to go before we need to finalize it, I want to hear, so what's your aspirations and wishes for 2025? Eva, if you want to start.
Well, I think my biggest hopes is that we will not only we have all the solutions that we need. They're not applied as they should and could. So I'm thinking that maybe the most hopeful thing right now is to be part of creating a mind shift, where you actually realize that everything that we love is at stake, and getting that drive or force within us to move faster in the right direction. Because I think there's too much hesitation and maybe too much plans and talk and less action.
Thank you so much. And Johan, a final note and maybe also an advice how to access the playbook if someone wants to put it into practice.
Yeah, please use it, download it, and come back with proposals. It will be continuously updated and aligned with all the standards. We're also part of the standardization, but we don't stop there. The idea is to really drive, the framework from the front line together with our leading companies. We're working now with some of the bigger companies to actually broaden this framework and scale it out and provide even much more guidance to companies. I think it's really important to show that there is, apart from contributing to a prosperous future, that the business opportunity for companies is actually to integrate climate and nature in the plans, because we're transforming the complete economy, 95% of the economy. So that's also what the playbook is about, to show that how you can actually win the new economy for companies. So
Thank
much more
you.
positive message, yes.
Thank you so much. A warm hand to our panelists. Thank you, Eva. Thank you, Johan.